Hello, everyone. It's 6 o'clock. I'm Stuart Fischman, and this is the WebYeshiva talking about why we do what we do. Last week, we had like an introduction to the subject, and we saw in general the opinions about should we be asking why we do what we do, about mitzvah in the Torah, and the answer, like Rambam says, and Ramban agrees, yes, we should be asking about why we do what we do. Not that if we don't understand the answer, we'll say, well, then I'm not going to do it. Whereas we do it anyway, because it's a mitzvah. But we should look for reasons. And today, I want to talk about the one of the objects on the slide, Shabbos candles. Why do we light Shabbos candles? We live in an age of electricity. Our rooms are lit. Why are we lighting candles? And I thought about it. When you think about it, a lot of people like candles. And like candles are just nice. In America, people have birthday candles. Candles are nice. You go to like an expensive restaurant, not like a pizza shop. They set the table with these candles, even though the room is lit up anyway. So candles are nice. And I think it's a cultural thing. People like candles. Even if you go to a dinner in someone's house, if they're really into like making an elaborate dinner, they'll put these candlesticks out on the table. So candles are nice, even in our secular culture. But why is there a mitzvah to light candles? Like, why are we doing it? And not only why are we doing it, this is like one of the really iconic things that Jews do, especially Jewish mothers. This is lighting candles. Why are they covering their eyes when they light the candles? It's another thing that like looks a little bit odd. And how many candles? Like, here's a picture. This woman has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. For some reason, these 2 candlesticks are empty. How many candles do you light? We can get into some details. On excuse me, I have hay fever. The lav halachot in Shabbos candles, and we only have an hour to discuss the whys. We're going to talk about the whys of Shabbos candles, and if anybody has a question, then please, you can type it in the chat box. Okay? We're not getting into too much halacha because this is about why. And before I start, I looked into this. There's a study done by the National Institutes of Health. I posted it on the web page of our shiur, and I just have that's the abstract. It's called "Shedding Light on Light: A Review of the Effects on Mental Health of Exposure to Optical Radiation." Light is good. Okay, light is good, and that's like the essence of Chazal, who lived before there was electricity. I don't know if any of you have ever been to a place where there's no electricity. I have been to places where there's no electricity. I was in Uganda. I visited the Abu Udaya. We live in a place called Puti. And many of these people, there's no electricity. And they live, when it's night outside, it gets dark, they go to sleep. And Chazal lived in a world that was pre-electricity, and just lighting candles. Chazal are emphasizing, yes, you have to light candles for Shabbat. And the Gemara says there's a parak called B'meh Madlikin, and it's the halachot of the oils and wicks that could be used for Shabbos candles. Even the word candle is inappropriate because they didn't have wax candles; they used oil lamps. So let's call it the Shabbos lights. What are the fuels and wicks that could be used that may be used for the Shabbos lights. And that's where the Gemara has the discussion. We're talking about lights, let's talk about Hanukkah. So the halachas of Hanukkah are in this chapter in Shabbos. And Amar Rava, Pshitali, Rava says it's obvious to me. Ner Beisov and Ner Hanukkah. You only have X amount of money. You can afford a lamp for your home. He calls that Ner Beisov, or Ner Hanukkah, or my Hanukkah lamp. Ner Beisov, Adif Mishum Shalom Beisov. Shalom Bais comes first. And look what Rashi says. Okay. But Hachim and Kamav Tisach B'Shalom Nashiz Udakat Ner Shabbat. So Ner Beisov in this context means, I don't know, if you're very, very poor and when the sun goes down, you have no money for light, Shabbos, make sure you have a light. Shabbat is supposed to be a day of joy. Shabbos oneg. If you're staying in the dark, you're not happy. It's sad. I'd rather be up. I need some light. And Rashi refers this to a Gemara that's a little bit later on. They talk about this. Hadlakas ner b'Shabbos chova. It's obligatory to have light in your house on Shabbos. Now, why? Rashi explains. Kavod Shabbos who? This is honor for Shabbos. Shein hasuda chashuva b'makom ha'or. Eating in the dark is not an enjoyable meal, right? K'en mama. Okay. The Barak Pasad Yuma. You need light. We need light. So Rashi says that it's purely utilitarian, purely functional. Shabbat has to be enjoyed. One cannot enjoy if your house is dark at night. Even in the pre-electricity age, get a lamp. Get a lamp. And the Rambam explains this also, and we'll see what he says. Like a lot of things in Shabbos are optional. You're supposed to have a nice meal on Shabbat. But if you're really, really upset about a dream, you can even fast on Shabbat. You don't have to eat on Shabbat. But you have to have a light in your house on Shabbat. It's not up to you. There are mitzvahs that are sort of optional. I have a mezuzah on my door, but who says I have to live in a house with a door? I can live in a tent. I don't have to buy a house just like I do the mitzvah mezuzah. I don't want to eat bread. I don't have to do it until you die. But you have to have a light in your house on Shabbat. It's not up to you, okay? It's absolute. It's a chovah. Okay, as Rashi, the Gemara says it's chovah. Okay, it's not a reshus. Ela chovah. You must have a light on Shabbos. Whether it's a man's house or a woman's house, there has to be a light lit in the house Friday night. Even if you have nothing to eat, get the oil to put in your lamp and light that lamp for Shabbat. Okay? And there's, the posting into this idea, what exactly to define Onik Shabbos, as opposed to Rashi calls Kavod Shabbos, but that's not for today. L'chayev lovarech. There's a bracha that you say on this. We'll see why someone said you don't say a bracha. We make a bracha on Ner Shabbat, just like we make a bracha on every obligation created by Chazal. As opposed to Ner Chanukah, which you're not allowed to use, but Lishmesh B'Ner Shabbos. You can use the light, okay? And the mitzvah is on men and women. Obviously, lighting a fire on Shabbat is asur, so you have to light it before Shabbos starts. But nashim mitzvah soldav is a yosmin and nashim. There are all sorts of reasons given for this, why the mitzvah was adopted by the women of the house. Okay? Nashim mitzvah soldav yosmin and nashim. It's a mitzvah on the woman more than the man. Because they're home. They're home. That Rambam views as nothing mystical, nothing legendary. Husbands are out working, and they worked all day. They worked probably till right before sundown. The women are in the house. The women are there to do the mitzvah. That's what the Rambam says in the Perek Hey of Hilchot Shabbat about the mitzvah of Ner Shabbat. He writes about it again in Perek Lamed. There are four mitzvot regarding Shabbat. Two are in the Torah, two are from the Rabbanim. Zachav Shamor, that's the mitzvah of Kiddush, is remember Shabbos and observe Shabbos. That come out good at all. Another color. Remember Shabbos. No work. That's Kiddush. And Shamor is to observe the malachos of Shabbos. Don't do malacha. And two are explained by the Nevi'im. Kras l'Shabbos oneg u'kadosh Hashem b'chubad. Ezu kavod. What's to show honor to Shabbos? You have to wash up before Shabbos. That's kavod. Dress nicely for Shabbat and repair, accept Shabbat b'koved rosh, respectfully. Okay, it's not like Purim. Shabbos is like kind of serious. Okay? Nakia, clean clothes. And what else does he say? You have to set the table nicely, even if you only have a kazayis of bread. Okay? And you have to get your house ready for Shabbos. Taking beso, yibod yom. Being a third, and you have to have a candle lit on the table. And that's it. So here you have the two ideas, perhaps, of Rashi as well. There's the mitzvah to have light in the house. That's what you make the bracha on. And then there's another thing. The meal has to be eaten at night with light. And that's part of Kavod Shabbat. Okay. So that's just like the introduction. Now, where's my Ben Ish Chai? So it's not just to get into it. Let's say your house already has light. Now, I'm not going to talk about electricity yet, but the Ben Ish Chai was the Rav in Baghdad, and he lived about 120 years ago. And this is what he has to say about Shabbat, about candles on Shabbat. You're eating on the roof, and there's a full moon, and it's very bright. I can see what I'm doing. It's not dark. I can eat by the moonlight. You light Shabbos candles at that table with a bracha. The Ben Ish Chai was a great makubal, and he says that even though I know that from the Gemara it seems to be just a very practical thing, we don't want to be in the dark because it's not pleasant to be in the dark. There's also a mystical reason, okay, and that's why you're lighting candles. I keep on saying candles, but days of Chazal, it was lamps. It's episode. There's a mystical reason. I looked for this in Otzar Chochma. I couldn't find the sefer of his Makavtza El. I feel kind of bad because I'd like to know what the mystical reason is, but there's a mystical reason. We light Shabbos candles, even if you have all this illumination. So, light. Okay, we light. So, why are we doing what we're doing with the electric lights? I have enough light. And I don't know the sod of the Ben Ish Chai. Is there another reason? So yes, indeed there is. And it's over here. Well, look at the more contemporary Sfarim now talk about electricity. Okay. This is Shimrat Shabbat Kihilchata. All right, and he has certainly the main big large volume is about the malachos. And there was already a third edition put out about 20 years ago. But besides that, he did a volume 2, which has the mitzvot of Kiddush and their Shabbos, and also the halachas of Chol HaMoed. And this is what he has to say. So in as much as the Ben Ish Chai says there's a mitzvah al pi Kabbalah simply to light Shabbos candles, the poskim who look at things more prosaically, they have doubts if your house is already lit up, they make a bracha on the Shabbos candles, because this again, when you just look in Rashi and the Gemara, the purpose of the candles is to provide illumination in general, and by your dining room table in particular. And the lights are on in your house. So, why am I making a bracha on? Am I really doing the mitzvah? So he gives this advice. You want to make a bracha when you're on a mitzvah, do it in such a fashion that everyone would agree that you have to do the mitzvah. So what is that? So really, the best thing to do is that the woman should say the brachos ladlik ner shel Shabbat, because here you get into another issue, which we'll get to. If a woman says ladlik ner shel Shabbat, does that mean she accepted Shabbat? She said ladlik ner shel Shabbat, so she can't do malach anymore. That's one idea in the poskim. So the woman will light the Shabbos candles with a bracha, and then afterwards, someone else in the house will turn on the necessary electric lights. If she's living by herself, set your lights to a Shabbos clock, and they'll turn on by themselves. Another interesting thing to do, and that he thinks is a very, very good idea. The mitzvah of Ner Shabbat is to illuminate the house. The candles, by our standards, don't provide much illumination. I think we all understand that. We're used to much more light, and the light that's given off by even 10 candles. All right? So, what's really illuminating the house are the electric lights. So he suggests that the woman of the house should say, before she turns on, since she's like the candles, say L'chvod Shabbat, and hit all the switches. Light up the kitchen, light up the hallway, if you have to light up the hallway, light up even though the lights are over the dining room table. You can say, I'm doing this L'chvod Shabbat. And then when she says the bracha on the candles, which is the last thing that she does, she should have in mind all the lights that she turned on L'chvod Shabbat. This way, the electric lights are included in the mitzvah of Ner Shabbat, which is a very interesting idea. And he has this footnote over here. There. Rav Neuwirth was a student of Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach Zatzal. And he quotes his teacher, Shlomo Zalman Auerbach. There are many people who have a hitter that they use oil for their Shabbos lamps. There are all sorts of reasons to do that. But what Shlomo Zalman Auerbach said, no one's using oil at all except for maybe the Jews. I mean, if you go, everything else that's done for non-electricity are candles. You use wax candles, birthday candles. Again, the restaurant candles. No one's using oil. I've never seen an oil lamp. Seriously, if anyone's seen an oil lamp, you can write to me. There are candles out there. So who's using oil except for us? And then he makes the observation, like, can I really make a bracha on this? Where did it go? No, not there. We're on the other page. Zoop. Okay. He's just puzzling. He's puzzled by this. Okay. No, I lost it. Come back. There you are. So his teacher, Rabbi Shlomo, says, I'm wondering about these oil lamps. No one uses them except us on Shabbos, and they don't provide what we'll see as simcha. They don't provide joy or anything. Okay, all lamps. That's okay, but in most people's houses. Okay, so what's really the bracha going on? They're not really providing joy. Candles look happy. He says he doesn't think oil lamps add happiness. They're not festive in our culture. So how can you make a bracha on this? It could be that, Chazal said there's a hitter in oil. It is a mitzvah. Chazal said make a bracha on. So the bracha is relevant. And I can even call this simcha shel mitzvah. Okay? So, and this applies to something else as well. So about the electric lights being l'chvod Shabbat, he says, again in an earlier paragraph, Kol neret shemadlik b'toch beiso yidlekem l'chvod Shabbat. Whether or not you can make a bracha on an electric light is something that the poskim debate. Is that called lahadlik? But certainly, illumination is the theme of the mitzvah. So just hit all the switches and say, l'chvod Shabbat. Yes, keep in mind, I'm doing this l'chvod Shabbat. Another idea, this Shabbos candles are purpose. They have to be done lishma. So, as Mr. Bruno says, anyway, you have your coal oil lamp up in your cabin, and you lit it. You have to light it l'chvod Shabbat. So if you lit it anyway because you have no electricity, it's getting, let's say it's the late afternoon, it's getting dark, you're not Yotzei Shabbos near Shabbat with those lamps, unless you say specifically, I'm lighting this l'chvod Shabbat. Blow them out, light them again. So that's that. I have a general question. It's like, since I have light anyway, how do I do this mitzvah? Where is it coming from? Because anyway, I have light. Excuse me. All right. So go back again to the Shmirat Shabbat. This is his introduction. Okay, we saw the Rambam. Shner Shabbat comes first. It's Oneg Shabbat. We saw this in the Rambam, the Gemara. You go back to the Gemara, it refers to Ner Shabbat, right? It's Ner Shabbat. Pshita lead, Ner base of Ner B'chan. It doesn't say Ner Rod, it says Ner in the singular. That's the mitzvah. That's like the Rambam also said, if you have no money at all, and you're desperately poor, right? Madliket HaNer. That's your minimum, one. But the custom is to do, Baruch Hashem, we're living in an age of prosperity. We like more than one. We can afford more than one. So how many do I light? Yotim de chova b'adakas nerachad b'vad. One. Well, mitzvah harbos b'neiros. It's a mitzvah to light more. More is better. More light is happier. Mishnah Berurah emphasizes this. More is better. More is better. It's a mitzvah to light more. This is a very popular idea. The minimum is 2. Zachar v'shamor. It's a nice idea. Zachar v'shamor. 2 is like the accepted minimum. Now, a lot of women like more than 2, and there's an important halacha. Once a woman accepts a custom, I know, like 5, like 4, someone know custom of 7, 10. He makes reference, some women like based on the number of children that for all the members of the family. If that is her accepted practice, she can't cut back. If she wants to like less, she has to do hataras nedarim. It's like a minhag that you accept is like a neder. Okay? And even if your custom, he says, is to like big candles, and you want to switch to little candles, you're changing your minhag. He holds that you have to do hataras nedarim, because big is better. When do we say this? That's in her house. But she's a guest in someone else's house. Then except the custom is to light 2. Not even necessarily big candles. Like she usually does at home. And makes another point. Talk to your husband. If you want to go from, let's say, 5 to 10, it's something in the family. Should talk to your husband about it, and then to see if you all agree on this. There's a mitzvah again. Like we saw already, that's mitzvah like oil. But if you don't have oil, then you can use it. You can even do electricity if you have to. You can make a bracha because you're making light. Technically, there are those who say that the mitzvah is lahadlik, and the old incandescent light bulbs had a glowing metal filament, which halachically is the equivalent of a fire, so you could say lahadlik. But these days, light bulbs are LED. They're cold. There's no heat. And there's a question if you could say lahadlik ner shel Shabbat with a bracha on an LED light. It's an interesting technical question. And if you're in a hotel But we'll get to hotels where there's smoke detectors, so you can't light a normal candle in your room. Then what you can buy, and they sell them. I'm not making a commercial, plug for this, but they sell these. They say L'chvod Shabbat Kodesh. You can buy them here in Israel from Machon Somet. This is from, I don't know whose company this is, but the thing is, you've seen it as the glowing filament. This isn't an LED light. And if you're going to light Shabbos candles with a bracha on an electric light, then it should be something like this that has a filament as opposed to an LED bulb. Does any have questions about lahadlik? Okay. And then we'll go on. Any questions? Anybody have any questions?
These candles that you're showing us here, do they burn out, so to speak, after a few hours, or do you switch them off?
That's it. So the ones made by, they run on a battery.
Oh,
See, obviously they're going to run till the battery dies.
okay.
They run till the battery dies.
Thank you.
Do sell some that only run for a certain amount of time.
Excuse me?
They do sell some. Some brands have but they have a switch on them. They run for a certain amount of time. You can set the switch, an hour, 2 hours, and they'll.
I'm going to hit the switch on Shabbos.
You set up before Shabbos.
They have a built-in time. I've only seen the ones from Summit. They run on a battery and they run till the battery dies. I've never seen one with a timer switch. Okay, but that's Fischman, it. The main thing.
Rabbi Fischman?
Yes.
Interesting minhag in our family that we don't light an even number. We light for each person in our family, but we don't light an even number because, according to my father, even means it's finished, it's complete, and an odd number means that the family grows, it can continue.
Oh, that's nice.
And then we light one candle for Shabbat as well. So this comes from my grandmother. So we end up lighting odd numbers, but anyway, it was an interesting minhag. But
it is.
Yeah.
It's a nice thought. Thank you for sharing that with us. Okay. So these are the basics. A question that people always ask, but that's the why. So why are they covering their eyes? Okay. Why do the women cover their eyes before they light Shabbos candles? All right, because this is about why we do. Why are they covering their eyes? It comes to Machloket Rishonim, an old Machloket of the Ramban and the Bahag. And just so you should know, Bahag, Halachos Gedolos, is one of the oldest books we have. Mondays we talked about because Tosfot quotes the Bahag. Same as our Shimon Kairu's a Gaon. And Ramban, he wrote something, Ramban disagreed with it, and became something in the halacha. Anyway, why Rava? Why do you do first? What goes first? And what's more important? It's Friday night and it's Hanukkah. I like the Hanukkah candles first, or to make Kiddush first, or like the candles. There's a rule in halacha, tadir beinu tadir kodem. Something that happens that we do usually, as opposed to something that comes once in a while. You might think that once in a while is more important because it only comes once in a while. No. Once in a while gets shoved to the back of the line. The thing that you do more commonly goes first. Shabbos is once a week. Hanukkah is once a year. Shabbos comes first. But maybe Hanukkah is more important because there's Pirsum Nes. Now, the Ramban says about this. Now, Ramban thinks that the Gemara doesn't say it. Our Gemara says it's because of Tadir. The Ramban said it's also because it's Shalom Bayis. Shalom Bayis is very, very important. Because of Ramban, Mashra the Afla Hakdim Makdim in their Beisel Shulchan. Which candles do I light first? I like the Shabbos candles first. Common, frequent beats infrequent. Shabbos is once a week. Hanukkah is once a year. Frequent comes first. Ner Shabbos comes first. Aval easy Ba'alachos Gedolos. The Ba'alachos Gedolos was a Gaon, hundreds of years before the Ramban. Looking there Hanukkah and there Shabbos Bereisha. If you don't know which to do first, Shabbos candles or Hanukkah candles, which goes first? Madlik the Hanukkah. You like Hanukkah candles first. Other Madlik Shal Shabbos. Why? The Adlik the Shabbos Bereisha, Itzer Leila Duki, the Hanukkah Mishum Kabbalah Shabbos Aleh. If you like the Shabbos candles first, you're saying a bracha, Ladik Ner Shel Shabbat. If you're lighting candles and you say it's Ner Shabbat, it means Shabbat begins now. If you like if you're Mekabel Shabbat now, then you can't light the Hanukkah candles anymore. It's too late. You missed it. Okay, you missed it. Okay, that was the Bahag. Ramban says no. Kama hu dachuk zeh. From the Bahag's idea that Ner Shabbat means you're Mekabel Shabbat, it's just not so. It's just not so. Okay, because we light Shabbos candles before Shabbos starts. We're mostly Mechol Kodesh, right? If it's already Shabbos, then someone down, it's too late. I'm lighting Shabbos, we light Shabbos candles 18 minutes before or 40 minutes before. Who says Shabbos doesn't begin then? Shabbos begins at sunset. Okay? Who says the woman or the man who's lighting Shabbos candles wants to accept all of the rules of Shabbat now? It's who says? Why are you assuming this? He says, Adarab, it's on the contrary. I can't light Shabbos candles on Shabbos. I'm lighting Shabbos candles before Shabbos. How can you say that this is Kabbalat Shabbat? Okay? And he quotes other Gemaras. Other Gemaras, it seems after they lit Shabbos candles, that's when they would put some fish on the barbecue grill. That's when they would put bread into the oven to bake. They were doing malacha after Shabbos. That's the Ramban. It's not Kabbalah Shabbos. Iran, who's like the summarizer of the Sephardic Rishonim, he looks at both opinions. Eino nearly. What the Ramban writes doesn't appear to me. I look at all the sugyas, I look at everything. I think that the last thing that a person did before Shabbos actually began at sunset was to light Shabbos candles. That was the last thing that they did. The last thing that they did was to light Shabbos candles. This is the takan of Ner Shabbos. Ner Shabbos means at this moment your Shabbos is beginning. You're going to light your candles, you drop the match, Shabbos. That's the takan of that's what Chazal want. That should be the last thing. And the last malach you should do on a Friday should be a mitzvah. Okay? Look, it's a Shabbos covenant. That is the beginning of Shabbos. And so, where does this leave us? The Ramban says you're not Makabel Shabbos with the candles. Bahag and the Ran seem to say you are Makabel Shabbos with the candles. What do you do? So here's the Shulchan Aruch. Kishama Yadlik, Yivarech Bechashem Nachonish comes with the Ner Shel Shabbat. Nachalish Vechad Isha. Man or women, they say the same bracha. Gam Yom Tov Tzachavayach Chalik Ner Shel Yom Tov. Don't come below Shabbos Ish Mishem Shlo Yivarech. Yom Kippur is another issue. He says we'll leave it till the Hilchos of Yom Kippur. Haga. Yesh Mishom Shema Bracha Kodem Hadlaka. Someone says you say like all the mitzvahs. You say the bracha before you do the mitzvah. Say the bracha, light the candles. Then someone says, no, light the candles and then say the bracha. because the bracha is accepting Shabbos. If you can say it's near Shabbat, that means it's Shabbat. Can't light candles anymore. I would like the mitzvah to be done, the bracha to be done before the mitzvah. Why do you do? Don't enjoy the light until after you say the bracha. Okay? I need over lasiyasa. No, the mitzvah of Ner Shabbos is again, it's about using the light, which again is like not so relevant since we have electric lights on. That's why Rav Neuwirth says, turn off all the lights, then light the Shabbos candles, then turn on the lights. But in the days, think back to the days of the Ramah. It's late afternoon. It's kind of dark in the house. I want to enjoy the Shabbos lights. That's why I'm doing. That's why you're doing this. Put your hands over light the candles. Okay. Put your hands on your eye. Put your hands over your eyes, because then you can't see what you're doing with the matches. So, like in all these pictures, and I think most of the women I've seen, they're covering their eyes. The Ramah is actually suggesting cover the candles. Okay, put your hand in front of the, because if you see the matches, if you see the candles when you light them, you kind of like didn't get the point of the Ramah. All right. So his idea, his solution to this dilemma is, again, put your hand in front of the candles so you don't see, so your candles are blocked. So the candles are blocked by your hands. Okay. Let me just get my little underliner here. Sneezing. Okay. Excuse me. You have like you light your match, put your hand in front of the candles, light the candles, say the bracha, and then, move your hand. So then, after the bracha, you're actually enjoying the light, which is the mitzvah. And that gets you to over la'asiyasam. Zemiki over la'asiyasam v'chein minhag. So that's why women cover their eyes before they say the bracha. Because when they're saying the bracha, they don't want to see the light. They don't want to get any benefit from the light. Okay? You understand that? That's like the important why.
Rabbi,
Well, yes.
I heard other things. I heard that we cover our eyes because once you light the candles, it's Shabbos. So if you light the candles and then you cover your eyes and make the bracha, it's as though now when you take your hands away, you're seeing the light. And the Sephardi women, they can light the candles and then they make a bracha.
Yes, they don't hold like the Ramah. They don't hold like the Ramah. They hold like the Ramban. The Machaber doesn't bring this up.
I'm not sure I understand what you just said. You don't cover your eyes, you cover the lights?
The Ramah mentions covering the lights, but women cover their eyes. It adds up to the same thing.
I don't know how you could cover the lights, though.
The old days, these days you light candles with a match. The match burns out very, very fast. In the old days, they didn't have matches. They lit candles with twigs that burned for a long time. So you could you can't do this with matches. Matches, you'll burn your fingers. But in the old days, there weren't any matches.
Uh-huh.
They had big twigs. But it's about the Sephardi women, it's not an issue because he says, the Mechaber says, say a bracha and light the candles. Because they hold like the Ramban. And the Ramban says you're not Mekabel Shabbos when you light the candles. But the Ramah and the Ashkenazim are worried about the Bahag and the Ran, who says you are Mekabel Shabbos when you light the candles.
Uh-huh.
So that's their disagreement. They hold like the Ramban. If they're according to the Ramban, there's no problem. According to the Bahag, it is a problem. And the Bahag doesn't even raise the issue of the bracha. So apparently it's something that they thought of later. Well, if you hold like the Bahag, then how am I saying a bracha? Okay. So the Mishnah Berurah has another idea. Okay. Well, Maska Achronim Eitzach Cheres said the Achronim have another idea. Even according to the Bahag, you can stipulate, I'm not Makabel Shabbos now. I'm not Makabel Shabbos now. And then you'll be good even according to the Bahag. You can say can't make a bracha, light the candles, but before you say the bracha, say I'm not Makabel Shabbos now. Okay, and that's an option. It's not the preferred option. Okay, but it is an option. Just stipulate I'm not Makabel Shabbos now. Okay, now there's another issue what about Yantiv? Okay. So on Yantiv, you can light a candle, right? We light candles. There's no problem with saying the bracha and lighting the candles, Ladik Neshal Yom Tov, because it's mutter to light a candle on Yom Tov. So what should you do on Yantiv? So it's really an interesting thing. There's a commentator called the Prisha. He was an incredibly important commentator to the Torah. And he wrote a parish to the Choshen Mishpir called the Sma. His mother was incredibly learned. And her grandson wrote the introduction to the Torah, to the father's commentary. And he quotes his grandmother, her name was Bela. She was remarkably learned. And Shiva Sarsham Yasha, she was a great tzaddikas. Okay. For 17 years, she was, first of all, she was a vegan before vegan was cool. 17 years, she would fast every day, and at night, she wouldn't eat anything made from any meat. And she was an incredibly learned woman, and she was considered one of the halachic authorities of her time. And she had this to say about how to light candles on Yantiv. Okay? And a whole literature arose around her opinion. Okay. And this is what she had to say. She thought that the women are getting or lighting Yantiv candles make two mistakes. They light Yantiv candles like Shabbos candles. On Shabbos, they do what the Ramah says to do. Light the candles with their hands in front of the candles. They don't see the light. Then they say the bracha, then they move their hands. Okay? The exam V Ramoshon about Chamsim Samach Gimel, it's part down in Maharil, because I want Oval Siyasa. And it's a big machlokas. The Sma's mother said about the bracha, is it Makabel Shabbos or not? Okay. So I want to keep Shabbos candles. I want to be over Lo Siyasa. Okay. Now, because they hold up brachas in Chakabal Mizu. Okay. Or I can make it tonight. Aval b'Yom Tov, Shmidlik Neiros b'Yom Tov Atzmo. The Sma's mother held that you can light candles on Yom Tov. Move the Shasa bracha Neiros Katikuna. You should make a normal bracha. Bracha over l'siyasa. Lika Neiros Shal Yom Tov. Mo Neiros Shal Chanukah. Like Ner Chanukah. We say, but Ladik Ner Shal Chanukah, we light the Chanukah candles. Ladik Ner Shal Yom Tov, then you light the candles. Why aren't they doing this? The women weren't doing this in her time. Hasheni, the other thing, and this that she thought the Sma's mother thought was wrong. Mashenogos nasham nerosim shel yom tov achash spal hakol arvis v'atzasa meisaknasa beisam kon machila. On Yom Tov, on Shabbos we have to light the candles before Shabbos starts because you can't light candles on Shabbos. On Yom Tov, okay, you can light candles on Yom Tov, but the women were only lighting the candles when their husbands came home from shul. Why are they waiting so long? So she thought that, okay, I can see this in Chutzarts and Yom Tov Sheni, because you can only do malacha on Yom Tov Sheni, you can't do malacha on Yom Tov Sheni on Yom Tov Rishon. So Yom Tov Rishon ends at 6. You daven early, so let's say you go to shul for a minute, so it's still Yom Tov Rishon. Wait until Yom Tov Sheni starts, and how do you know when Yom Tov Sheni? These days we have clocks on the wall that tell Yom Tov ends. If most shul calendars say, don't light candles before, let's pick a number, 8:17. So I have a clock. I know when it's 8:17. Those days they had no clocks like that. How did the woman at home know that it's Yom Tov Sheni, that it's Tzeis? Husband came home from shul. So she could see on Yom Tov Sheni waiting. Well, Yom Tov Rishon, what are they waiting for? That's totally wrong. Light the candles before Ma'ariv, when Yom Tov starts. That was the opinion of the mother of the Sma. And the whole literature rose up around this idea of hers. One of the big poskim is the Magen Avraham. Okay. 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 If the Ramah holds to make the bracha after you light the candles, the Magen Avraham says the Ramah likes uniformity. If you're doing this on Shabbos, light the hide the candles with your hand, light them, say the bracha, and then remove your hand. That's what you're doing on Shabbos. That's what you do on Yom Tov. Okay, I don't agree with Sma's mother because we want uniformity. And the Noda Yehuda wrote about the Magen Avraham. Hadinim imoshal goes drisha. No, I think the Sma's mother is right. Yom Tov derechakach tadlik. Yom Tov, it makes the most sense. Light the candles. Say the bracha and light the candles because there's nothing wrong with lighting a candle on Yom Tov. So that's the machlokas of the Sma's mother and the Magen Avraham. My wife tells me in her family they do what the Sma's mother didn't like. They would wait till the husbands come home from shul, then they lit candles. And that was the minhag that the Sma's mother saw. The Sma's mother wanted to change the minhag. And my wife's family, they light candles. They were lighting candles when the husbands came home from shul. Any questions?
When you light the Yom Tov candles, it has to be
Dark night candles?
For Yom Tov.
Oh, Yom Tov candles, yes.
It has to be from an existing light.
Yes.
Yom Tov Sheni. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
That's certainly true.
Rabbi?
Yes.
I learned that Shabbos, we cover our eyes and we say the bracha. But on Yom Tov, we light the candles and then we say the bracha. It's different. I was told that this is what you need to do because it's not Shabbos and you can light it and then you make the bracha and you bring the chag in. So there's a difference. I was told that there's a difference in how you light for Shabbat and how you light for chag.
Well, what you heard is what the Sma's mother saw. And what the Magen Avraham said to do because we want uniformity. And the Sma's mother was looking at this a bit more, I won't say rational or logical, because the Magen is also rational and logical. She was looking at more like, why are you doing this? If you don't have to do it. Okay, and that was her idea. But both customs exist. Both customs exist. All right. Is there anything else? I think that's pretty much. So anyway,
I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question. When a woman lights candles and she's intending to bring in Shabbos, and it's 40 minutes before Shabbos comes in, does that only apply to her, or does it also apply to the whole household?
Her. She's the one making the bracha.
So it's only for her? The rest of the household can keep doing
Whoever's
things
making the bracha. If it's the father making the bracha, it applies to him.
Say it again?
If there's a father making the bracha, it would, according to the Bible, would apply to him as well.
Right. But if the mother makes the bracha, it's not binding on the father until he goes to shul and Shabbos actually comes in.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, I have a question. What if somebody has to go to another family's house and you light the candles at home, and then somebody's picking you up to drive to that other person's house? Is it permissible to do that?
The better question is, why are you lighting? Where to light the candles at all? Because if you're not eating at home, and the candles will be burned out by the time you get home, there's really no point in lighting the candles at home.
So you light them at the other person's house.
There's a whole other issues where to light candles if you're going out to eat. You should light the candles where you eat.
Okay.
That's an entirely different subject. Okay. So about candles, just to end with this. Okay. About candles, so the article from the NIH had made a point that they differentiate between electric lights and natural light. And low intensity lights have been suggested to produce more antidepressant efficacy and fewer compliance issues. Candles are low intensity light. And maybe that's why candles just appeal to us. They're antidepressant and they're pleasant to look at. And so even though we have electric lights, candles aren't obsolete. And Shabbos candles are nice. They're a mitzvah. And according to the NIH, they have an antidepressant efficacy, which is a good thing. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And again, here's my email. I need ideas. So here's my email address. Think of something that you want to know, and we'll talk about it. Because I need ideas. So there's my email address. Please write down, give it some thought, and send me your ideas. So have a good week. Shabbat shalom.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Shabbat shalom. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Shabbos.
Thank you.